Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. I am Nathan Guerra coming at you from Zwift Community Live headquarters with the KISS Europe Thursday night race out on Zwift. Today we are going to be doing, well, the racers are going to be doing 4 laps of the Hilly-Watopia course. We'll be covering the A and the B category mainly today, followed up with the finishing of the C and the D category that are going to be getting out on course a little bit after the A category takes off. We do have the A category just taking off from the piers right now. We'll go ahead and join the front end of the race, while the B category is starting up in about 2 minutes or so. If you're new to racing out on Zwift, this is a massive multiplayer online game and training tool in which riders are actually riding from their homes or wherever their bikes are located right now on trainers and putting out the wattage that we are seeing in the upper left-hand corner, as well as the heart rates and RPMs that are being registered through an ANT Plus signal that's going to their computers. Really simple setup with a little USB stick, as well as getting the right kind of trainer to match up a signal to the game. And so as you can see here, Robin from Innovation Cycles, coming out of South Africa, immediately right from the gun has been sent off the front by his team as they're heading into the Hilly-Watopia course the first time up the climb. It's about a 2-minute climb or so, a little less than that. It'll be probably for the front end of the A group, as it is a very, very difficult climb right from the get-go at that 7% gradient, which they do feel if they are on a smart trainer. But watts are watts, and for Ramen right here at 428 watts, all of these riders do have to hold the same amount of power and the same amount of effort then in order to hang with each other up the climb at this front end of the group. We do see Parada here from Innovation Cycling leading things out from our helicopter view. It does look like Webb then following very closely there on that blue Tron bike from Vision Cycling team in game. It does look like Parada then and Ramen, they showed up with a plan. It also looks like their other teammate M Shaw from Innovation in here as well. Kiwi coming out of New Zealand here, absolutely killing it to hang onto the wheels there. We also see C Loke as well as Cambier, and I actually had a little bit of a warning yesterday during the SCR race coming from Kyle Augustine, who is the director sportif, the leader manager of that team here, also from New Zealand there, taking up the back of the chase here to get back on to that group. But he gave me a little warning, watch out for tomorrow, because Innovation is showing up in force. So the KISS race definitely has a whole bunch of the Innovation Cycle boys and their new team that's, well, it's starting to become a common stay, definitely a staple of the races lately. But just in the last month or so, these boys have started to show up and let themselves definitely be known at the pointy end of these races. And you can see here Ramen here at 347 watts up and over the top here. They put down a 143.9, it looks like, coming from Webb. But as you can see in the left-hand side here of the screen with that KOM, so Zwift takes the times that that the riders are doing these sections of the course and awards a time for the forward KOM. You can see everybody's time actually on the left-hand side that are in the event. So since I am a part of the event right now, it actually only shows those who are in the event, so you compete with them if you need to actually for the race. So it looks like it is then going to be Webb who was able to take that fastest time, I believe, at a 1:43 and was awarded the KOM in the event. But it looks like Loke was out there maybe beforehand on his warm-up and was able to grab the KOM as well in this A category. Well, not in the event, actually. It looks like he's holding on to the KOM jersey outside of the event as well. So solid group though that has established at the front end of this race here now, though we do have, it looks like, about 10 riders or so. The chase group then containing Mr. Tom O'Kalin coming out of Norway here, El Sousa Jaber, as well as G. Arbor out of the UK. It looks like Arbor actually riding for Innovation here, as well as C. Smith. So you can recognize a lot of the teams that are in the game do use specific kits that either have been put into the game for their team by the awesome creative department over at Zwift through special requests that are made, or you have the some in-game kits that people like to adopt in order to create an identity in the game. So as you can see, the Alienware kit is actually the kit that is native to the game, and the Innovation Boys went ahead and started using that as their main kit, and they usually have a green Tron bike if they do have it unlocked. And now it takes a long time to do that challenge in game. A lot of times we do get a question about what's up with the glowing bikes. It is actually a part of the Everstein challenge in the game of Zwift, and so if you go to your user menu screen, you can actually see all the challenges and enter different challenges right around the upper right hand side of it. You click on that challenges section, and if you select the Everstein challenge, you can start that challenge. I believe you have to climb somewhere in the 150,000 feet or something like. It's a crazy amount of feet. I can't remember what it was. I completed it, I believe, a couple of summers ago, last summer before. Anyways, it was quite the challenge, and I essentially just did repeats on this Ford Watopia over and over and over again for a while to unlock that Tron bike for myself. And I mean, sometimes when you see people doing those repeats, that's what they're after actually in the game. It is the fastest bike in the game. It was not always the fastest bike in the game. There actually is a difference in the speed of the bikes, and the ones that you earn, like this Tron bike, sometimes do have a little bit quicker speed in the game. We do see Parada here now going off the front, and you just saw something go over his head. That's called the Aero Power-Up, if you haven't seen it before, and that actually reduces the drag on the avatar in-game significantly. So it's essentially like all of a sudden you took a right-hand turn and there's a strong tailwind, you took full advantage of it, and bam, you kick into the big wattage to try and get away from the group that might be a little complacent at that time. 7 watts per kilogram there real quick coming from Parada as he uses that Aero Power-Up and gains immediately 8 seconds over the group. And you do see his Innovation teammates at the front, and you see what they're doing. They are backing off the pace a little bit here, keeping it just high enough that people don't want to come around, but not too high to bring his teammate back in. 4.5, 4.7 watts per kilogram coming from C. Loke and G. Richardson here, actually. Webb now just following things up, making sure he keeps people within his sights, but Parada off the front at 8 seconds really early. And it's interesting, we saw Ramen go right from the get-go, right on into that climb into the forward Watopia, and then after that we saw now after he was caught, we saw Parada being sent off. So it is definitely the classic, when you have enough people in the race that's a part of your team, you're able to start just sending people up the front and force others to chase, or slow your pace down and allow them to gain a ton of time that will take the motivation out of the other riders, or even the ability for the other riders to bring back the breakaway that is formed either by a solo rider or a few of your teammates off the front. So definitely some tactics being involved here for Innovation Cycles. Cambier now here from France being dropped off, now trying to get back on terms, 6.9 watts per kilogram in that bike and beers kit that they have adopted as well. 7.1 watts per kilogram. A little bit of a kick here. We'll see if he can get back on terms. It's only 2 seconds. I think he's going to do so, as things have kind of slowed down, but after being dropped off the first time over the forward Watopia, may be difficult to hang on the second time up and over. We'll see if he can make this happen. I am seeing a whole lot of chatter over at the Twitter right now. So I'm not Twitter, the Twitch. So good to see you guys over at Twitch. Appreciate all the comments coming through. We also are live over on Facebook with Zwift's Facebook page. So I am seeing a few comments coming through. Dynamics saying, "Go Zwift Racers, go!" Nice KLM time from Glenn Hookins, as well as In Bendix Madsen saying, "Go Dion." So we'll definitely look for your favorite riders out there that you would be cheering on, and make an attempt to highlight them out there. If you would like to be featured in the broadcast in any way, we do have social media integrations, and we can bring you right on in with any questions or comments you'd like to make, or if you tweet at us at Z Community Live with your pictures or comments, you can also get in, and we always like to see those Zwift setups or in real life interaction with the Zwift world in some sort of a way. So if you'd like to do that, you can just at Z Community Live to make that happen. I do see a few people doing some commands over at the Twitch channel. No bot in the channel right now to use any of those commands that they don't cross over from my personal channel, just so you guys know. But thanks, Rogers and Juice Train, for making the awareness known over there for that. And the command no bot coming from Juice Train. You guys are hilarious. Now Ramen here, going again off the front here, 5.5 watts per kilogram, has his own arrow power up, and definitely we have seen multiple riders from Innovation trying to make this happen, trying to get as soon as someone's caught, they send another one off the front and another one off the front. And with 4 or 5 in this lead group, it is going to be a tough day today to deal with the Innovation boys here. But Webb just been sitting in, another one that's going to be a favorite today to win this, I think. And he's been sitting in, following the moves and allowing others actually to pull this back in. And it looks like he's got a little bit of help here from Jay Logan out of the US of A. Shaw there as well. Nope, Shaw's actually riding for the Innovation boys. Cambier's there, but I think Jay Lecoq coming out of the UK is definitely going to be one of the stronger riders that's going to be able to work with Webb as well to try and control these Innovation boys out on the course today, as it is going to be the KRT team here, but only a solo rider. As you can see, this is the KISS team, KISS Racing Team's kit here in game, and they are actually the organizers of the race you're looking at here. Speaking of KISS and the organizers of the race, they do have a very well-known format in the world of Zwift, as well as there's a lot of back-end work that they do with ZwiftPower.com. So definitely one of the best community support teams out on Zwift. And if you haven't checked out ZwiftPower.com yet, you definitely want to do so, especially if you're interested in any kind of event or racing telemetry that gets communicated from game to the Zwift Power website. You can head on over there, and you can see actually live results going through on all of the different telemetry that's coming from the game. So right now I'm over at ZwiftPower.com's main web page, the home page that you land on, as we're watching the KRT boy trying to hang on actually to the pace here, up in 151, not too high of a heart rate, but just maybe a little lax for a second. Lost that wheel, needs to get right back onto that draft, as there is drafting in game. So when I talk about staying with the pack and all that, and people are like, well, what does it even matter? There's actually drafting with these avatars. Jay Lecoq is actually having to put out less watts per kilogram, less wattage, in order to hang on to the wheels that are right in front of him while he is on their wheel. If you are outside of 5 meters, you no longer get that draft. So he actually had to put in a little bit of a dig there that may not have been necessary prior to hitting that uphill climb. But we can actually see that effort and what they have put out over at ZwiftPower.com. On that main page, I find the event that I'm looking for, and the ones that are live right now or about to go live are actually in red. And so I go ahead and click, but I found KISS Europe, well, in red for their time. I found the KISS Europe race, I've clicked on it, and then it brings up, though, not the live page immediately, just so you know, it brings up the event page that will be the final results page. If I click the live tab in the upper right-hand corner, though, it brings up a full page of the live results of everybody who's in the game. And if they have a link on their name, if their name is a link, you can actually go and see all of their past results of all past events that they've done. Really, really great resource. You can see in here live also what their watts per kilogram have been throughout the race. And Ramen here from Innovation, definitely one of the most effort, I would say, just in watts per kilogram amongst the racers that has been put out so far. We do see an attack again from Webb and Ramen here going off the front here. 6.4 watts per kilogram. Go ahead and give Webb a ride on. The ride-ons have been used to be up above here, but that is just a little encouragement you can give to the riders that are in front of you. We'll give Loke then a ride on as well. And some maybe I already did here. Ramen, though, kicking it up as he was attacking initially into the climb. He had already put out 4.9 watts per kilogram for the last 12 minutes or so. Well, now they're 14 in, but at the 12-minute mark, when they crossed the line, the start-finish line, had put out 4.9 watts per kilogram. So these boys are absolutely killing it at a threshold or above effort. And the A boys, they're all, when you join an A category race, it's all about how many watts per kilogram you can hold. And if it's 4.0 or more, then you should be in that A category. And so that's the assumption amongst these guys, so that everybody has somebody to race against. You're not jumping into a B category race or a C category or a D category race. And those are all clearly laid out when you join into an event. On the right-hand side of the screen, when you see the events pop up when you first log in, there is it'll either say a category you can be in for that event, and some of the events just have a basic, this is a B category event. Everybody in this event can hold a B category pace, or an A or a C or a D. But races a lot of times will have separated out categories, A, B, C, and D. Or they will have an E category, which means it's just a mass start and everybody starts together. The KISS race today had A, B, C, and D. And for the A's, 4.0 watts per kilogram or higher. For the B's, it was 3.2 to 4.0. For the C's, 2.5 to 3.2. And for the D's, 2.5 or under. And that's all for their functional threshold power. How many watts they can hold divided by their kilograms and body weight. So functional threshold power, what you can hold for 1 hour straight, right? Your FTP. And you take that, you take whatever wattage you can hold for 1 hour straight after doing a test. And you don't actually usually go out and just do a test of everything all out for 1 hour. A lot of times people won't get a correct number there, but because it's very, very difficult to get a good number on a 1 hour all out test if it's not managed correctly, especially if you don't have a lot of experience with it. And so they do have tests that you can do, like a 20-minute. There's also some ramp tests as well to get that done. Those do exist in the world of Zwift. And once you get that number for your FTP, you divide it by your weight in kilograms, and that gives you a ratio. And you actually see that ratio live at all times here. As you can see with Webb, he was just at 7 watts per kilogram. Now he's at 3.0, and that's about 3.5, 324. 385 is about 4.8, right? And so that is going to match the upper left-hand corner to the right-hand side ratio is continually going to match whatever their watts per kilogram currently are, so people get an idea of what people are holding for that ratio at all times, because it's so essential and so important to the world of cycling and performance in cycling. So Zwift has went ahead and put it in game with all of those metrics. So again, if you have any questions, go ahead and bring them our way. We'd love to hear them. And we are seeing a little bit of comment there coming from the KISS Road race over at Twitter. Good to see you guys. And Johnny here actually bringing in here's his viewing, where he is viewing from right now. Johnny Nobbit says, the chips are in. Place your bets on the KISS Road race on Go Zwift 1, 2, 3 for, incorporate. Wow. For then that is the Innovation Cyclist. He believes that as he's watching the broadcast and having some chips and chicken there, it looks like he is betting on a 1, 2, 3 for Innovation rather than his Vision Cycling team. I think he's going to hear a little bit of feedback from the Vision Cycling boys after today. But again, thanks for the example there, Johnny. We really appreciate that, and would love to always have the interaction through the Twitter there and seeing what's going on with everybody's real life at the moment. So we also seeing Drew Christensen saying Innovation for the win. Lucas Foxton also coming in and saying nice tech move Zwift from Lucas Foxton. Good to see you there. Bobby McGlue as well saying go Innovation boys. So pretty a lot of innovation cheering going on right now for this race, and they definitely do have the numbers in this league group that has been broken apart here on the front end at this point, as they have climbed the Watopia forward twice. And actually it was a league group of 10 that has now been whittled down, as you can see here from the the helicopter view, with who are we looking at? Loke here, as well as Raman, and it looks like Richardson 3 attacking at the front, trying to form a team time trial off the front, but Webb has a few answers in that for some wattage in the 600s here. Cambier following very closely. He's actually been over 5 watts per kilogram for the duration of the race so far, I believe here, but then it's going to be Parada and Shaw and Seahead as well as Jay Leclerc off the back now because of those attacks up and over the top of the climb. So it is a lead group now of just 4 riders, with 2 of them being innovation boys. They're going to have their work cut out for them. Actually, no. Am I seeing 3 of them actually in here? Ken Nathan counted. Yeah, 3 of them, 5 off the front, and 3 of them all innovation. Rahman, Richardson, Loke really have an advantage at this point, and it's going to be up to Cambier and Webb to battle these boys out here today for the next 2 laps after they make their way through the Essies. Now, you hear me mentioning all these different places out on course, and you can actually see the course profile in the upper right-hand corner here, as you can see. And as they make their way into the sprint section of the course, we can go ahead and look at, here's the sprints currently in the event. 25 seconds, the fastest time through the sprint coming from Cambier. That was actually because he was chasing during that section last lap and went ahead and grabbed the fastest time for the sprint section out on course. There's also a section where you can grab a power up. Again, the KISS racing events are events where the all in-game features are available. So power-ups, TT bikes, whatever you want to use in-game, if it's available to everybody, it's available to you. So you can go ahead and use all the features in-game. And so power-ups are allowed at all times during this game. So there's a little bit of random numbers game, Mario Kart-esque style, where you can grab, we call them the red turtle shells sometimes, or the mushroom power-up, or the lightning bolt, like in Mario Kart, because there's a little bit of that where you go through the start-finish banner and it clicks through on your power-up right where the hilly course Watopia, if I was on my point of view, you can see up above there we have the hilly course Watopia as the course today, but that's actually the location then, if I was on my avatar, that I would see it click through as these boys come through that sprint finish banner. It clicked through a little bit like a roulette and then bam, land on a power-up, and then you would have that accessible with the use on with spacebar. You can also click it with your mouse, or you can, and you do see a power-up. Speaking of power-ups, Ramen making sure that if anybody does attack, he does have that drafting power up on if anybody comes around him, actually. Kind of maybe not the use that we would expect of that power up as he kicks into that 9 watts per kilogram, attacking on this uphill section. What an attack, up and out of the saddle. Whenever you go into those orange numbers, you know that people are into that 30-second to 1-minute effort, and the avatars stand up, get up and out of the saddle to represent that. Webb now following very closely, a 1-second gap to Loke here. But as I was saying, with that drafting power up, it does reduce the effort you have to put out to draft a rider. So he did use it at a time that was, he was going off the front there, but maybe he was anticipating somebody to attack him or maybe come around at a higher speed, and so would be able to put that effort out on that wheel of that rider. Now it does look like Richardson being dropped off here by the attack of Ramen, and they were unable to shed off Webb. So actually, maybe not the result they were looking for from that attack. Is there going to be a counter from Loke? He did not, maybe not has the ability even to counter, as we're seeing now. Ramen going again, 8 watts per kilogram, 176 beats per minute right now, and Webb just following very closely. It's all about the dynamic kicks through the Essies. As you can see, they're going through this succession of little punchy 5%, 6%, 7% climbs on this back end of the Watopia forward course after the sprint section. And then they will be heading into the start-finish banner in just a moment here. So Webb, Ramen, as well as Loke here, 5.7, 5.3 watts per kilogram. Richardson trying to close it back down here. G. Richardson, 5.2, 167 beats per minute. We'll go ahead and give him a ride on for some encouragement as you see the thumbs up there drop over his head, and that's what he sees in game. And he also sees my name, says, Angara gave you a ride on for that encouragement. So you actually see exactly who gives you the encouragement in the game. So I am seeing a little bit of questions maybe coming through here. Jason Gurley then saying, do you need to do an FTP before you can join these events? And John Kerr answered, preferably yes, as your FTP divided by your weight will determine which candidate you should race in. Yes, it would be good if you do not know your FTP to do a test. Or if you got an idea of it is good, you don't have to. Like, Zwift's not going to check on you and make sure, hey, do you got an FTP test? What's going on? Show me your credentials here. Zwift Power will kind of do that after you're done racing, though. That's the thing. Is you jump into the race, you end up putting out a functional threshold power for the duration of the race that, the racing in Zwift kind of tends to be about a 1 hour all-out effort, or somewhat like that. There's a lot of dynamic and sitting in, and you do have racers that are 1 watt per kilogram less for the duration of the race, winning against somebody who put out 1 watt per kilogram more, because there's so much tactical dynamics in the game with all the drafting. But at the same time, if SwiftPower.com sees that you put out a higher watts per kilogram throughout the race, and you can actually see that watts per kilogram you put out throughout the race on the event listing over at SwiftPower.com. So right now I'm looking at SwiftPower.com, and I can see Rahman 4.9. I can see Cambier 4.8. Richardson 4.3. Webb 4.4 watts per kilogram for the duration of the race so far. So if it measures then that you are over that watts per kilogram that's necessary for that category, it will upgrade you or DQ you. So definitely want to jump in and just make sure that you're around where you think you can handle. So it's a good idea, but you can also use the races for the test of where you would end up, kind of, right? So like you do a race and you're like, you want to kind of go in and be like, all right, I'm around like a Cat 3 level. Maybe that's like a B or an A level of racing. I'm Cat 2, Cat 1. Okay, maybe I should just jump into the A's and see what happens. I know that I don't race at all, and I don't think I'm all, but out on course, I'm tending to hold around this. All right, I'm going to jump into that when I'm going hard, doing my workouts, going really, trying to keep up with people. I can hold this for about 20 minutes, it seems like. Jump into that category, see how it goes. If you end up being over category or above category, then just take the feedback from SwiftPower.com and jump right on into the race that you should be involved in. So I hope that helped to answer your question. Jason Gurley over at Gorley, I hope I got your name there correctly, over at the Zwift Facebook. Thanks a lot for the question. Keep them coming, boys and girls. We'd love to answer them as they're heading into their third lap up and over the top of the Watopia forward. We do see Rahman kicking again, 6.7 watts per kilogram, 28-second gap back to Cambier, who's going to be in no man's land trying to hold off the Innovation boys here as they're chasing him down. We're going to go ahead and see if we can see what the gaps look like here from the helicopter view as they make their way into their third time up and over the top of this Watopia forward. And you can just barely see coming into view here from this climb, there is the chasers containing Parada, Seahead, and as well as it will be Shaw there from Innovation as well. 4 chasers there. Parada, Jay Lecoq also in there. So Cambier trying to hold him off, but the gap's coming down very quickly as he's been in no man's land, TTing at an effort. He's not going to have the same dynamic power as these boys making the chase. As you do see Parada here he's got him in his sights. It's only 3 seconds, 6.4 watts per kilogram, absolutely killing it here on this third time up and over the top, and they're trying to bring back that next spot to try and grab what will be, I believe, a top 5 if they're going to catch Cambier. They'll be fighting for a top 5 position out there today in this A race, but at the pointy end of the race, we do have Rahman, Webb, and Loke dropping Richardson off once again. Richardson yo-yoing over and over again, but kicking once more, 5.9 watts per kilogram. It brings it back within 1 second. It's going to be all about holding onto the wheel up and over the top of the climb. He almost has it, but will there be another kick that drops him off? Because it's all about the draft and the downhill. The draft doesn't matter quite as much on the uphill sections. Look at them all spread out, though, at this point, as everybody's putting everything they got into these pedals to climb up and over the top of this KOM here. And Rahman unable to really cause any kind of mayhem. It's going to be out the continuance right here as the gap is formed. You do see Webb's avatar up and out of the saddle as he kicks one more time, grabs some speed up and over the top, and then rests that pedal stroke a little bit. Rahman now using that power up again at a moment that is not really the moment that you want to be using those drafting power ups. You want to maybe use those a lot of times. You want to use it when you're hanging onto a wheel and then go flying right on by with all the speed so you gain a bunch of speed, or you don't have to use a lot of effort on somebody who's going pretty dang hard on the front end of a pack, and then bam, you just yo-yo right on past them. You just slingshot right on past them with that speed as well as that effort that you've saved up to go flying right on by them. So it's definitely something that you want to use at those moments, or save it up for when the attacks really start happening. But looks like Richardson, man, this boy is not going anywhere. Yo-yoing off the back, but able to hang on. Loca's in there as well. Webb and Rahman still forming this lead group. We do see it looks like Parada here with an arrow power up attacking Cambier after he was caught. And it looks like Seahead coming out of the UK able to just maybe get back on terms, but it is over 5 meters, 11 meters at this point, and it's all about those meters. This game is a game of meters when it comes to drafting and hanging on, and it could come within 6 meters, and Parada able to just barely hold off and then slowly ride away. But it looks like this group is going to be able to close that down with the KRT rider there, Jay Lecoq, as well as Seahead in that Zwift kit, Cambier then in the Bikes and Beer kit that Team France has adopted. So solid effort from them in this chase group. Webb now going again over this little kicker on the downhill section here of the Watopia forward. 8 watts per kilogram, trying to break these boys on this downhill as one of the more ruler type riders. Whenever it goes uphill for a significant amount of time, Webb tends to struggle a little bit more than some of the lighter riders out on course. We'll see if he's able to hold them off on this downhill as he's attacking here. He did see Richardson here, I think, in a spot of bother here, and so he's trying to break off a few of these innovation boys. It's 3v1 at this point out on course. And we are seeing Jason saying, great, thanks you very much. Yeah, that's right. No problem, man. And thanks for the A-OK. And a thumbs up coming from John Kerr. We are seeing Art Passion here saying, you need to know your FTP because your category is determined by categories. Use your FTP and then divide by your weight in kilogram. And a few more, a little bit more on the content. I do have it segregated there a little bit. Then pick your group, correct group, 4 watts per kilogram for the A's, 3.2 to 4.0 for the B's, etc. So it goes on and on. You can see in the race rules also over at zwiftpower.com, there is an information tab that you can click over at zwiftpower.com for every one of the events actually. So thank you so much, Art, for helping us all there and filling us in. Looks like I need to do an FTP 10. Would be helpful there, Barber. Now, do some reading up or maybe chat to a coach or a little bit because it's definitely an effort that you want to know how to do a little bit. But Zwift does do a good job of coaching you through it if you do select their FTP test. But it is going to be a race-like effort. You do want to maybe peak out a little bit for it. You want to rest up for it a little bit. Don't just not ride your bike, though. You know, I have done quite a good fair coaching in the back, you know, in my background, and you definitely want to make sure to do some openers the day before, keep the body fresh. If you just do nothing for a few days and then try and jump right on into this FTP test, you might feel a little bit flat. You want to keep the body a little bit awake, but you don't want to tire it out. So definitely want to treat it a little bit like a race effort because it's going to be one of the hardest efforts that you've ever done in order to get a correct number. So Lucas Fox is saying, do KISS racers need to have their profile, age, weight verified in order to join a KISS event? You do need to get verified if you're putting out over 5 watts per kilogram. So that's the place where it really starts to be looked at under a microscope is in the A category. So if you're putting out crazy numbers that look to be in the pro numbers, you do need to get what they're calling ZADA approval. So Zwift Anti-Doping Association, not a Zwift official, but a Zwift community thing that is being developed with ZwiftPower.com and a lot of the racers. It is a community organization that has come together to do verification with riders that seem to be putting out numbers. You're like, hey, that looks like, you know, Tour de France or pro domestic type level. Are you sure? Like, who are you? What's going on here? You don't have a verified badge or a pro badge on your name. You're like, you know, and people just want to make sure what's going on. So you can submit strain gauge power meter files actually to ZADA after you've been ticked by ZwiftPower.com. It registers, look, this is over 5 watts per kilogram, or you're coming close to there and you're racing in the A category, and they'll take a look at those and verify that it's similar to the peak powers that you're putting out in Zwift. If it's not similar, they'll actually give you options. They don't just DQ and say, stop racing. They actually give you options to say, hey, you could do this or that in order to keep on racing actually and not be DQ'd. So it's they do have some options for individuals, even if there's calibration or weight issues that seem to be different from in-game. There are some cool ideas being floated around. Now, these are not official in any way whatsoever, but just some cool community ideas being floated around about eventually having local places where you can get verified and have a verified account then with your weight, where you go and you weigh in. You can get your power meter and your FTP checked as well. That this does not exist yet, but there are some cool ideas about that being floated around amongst the community to try and maybe start making that happen in partnership maybe with the local bike shop, etc., as things get more and more toward, you know, the pointy ends of the race, and racing gets more serious in the virtual world. For right now, it's an amazing workout with some pretty good verification, but obviously there's going to be some limitations. But that's why we also have these live events going on. I mean, Zwift just did the Australian and New Zealand tour, looked really awesome with KOM challenges with live events, and right there you got people giving their weight live right there, as well as with verified trainers right next to each other. You can see Webb now kicking up to 10 watts per kilogram as they're heading into their final lap here soon. Absolutely killing it right now, 34 minutes in. And those innovation boys, they attacked him left and right. He followed over and over again. And now going into the SEs, you have him getting a 7-second gap. Will the innovation boys be able to work together rather than attack each other to close this down? Let's see what they have to make this happen. Webb now settling in 3.7. It's all about the dynamic attacks again through here. So I did some Watopia fast laps yesterday for the orange jersey, as well as just for my 12 to 13 minute intervals or so. And my faster times actually were when I would kick it through the dynamic parts, through the uphill sections, and then go into a steady FTP slight effort type effort for the other flatter and downhill sections, right? So I would do kind of an over-under on that section. Of course, it does look like Webb was caught actually by Ramen here, but it definitely pays off to attack the uphill sections, then settle in, and attack the uphill sections and settle in. If you go off the front at just a straight FTP, here's what I can hold for the duration of the race. Well, even in real racing, that's not going to pay off that well for you. It's all about gaining lots of time and lots of speed. It's all about speed. So if you attack on the uphills and be really fast through there, and then keep your speed through the other sections of the course, and then attack the uphill, you actually gain more time than you would in real life. And those actually times were my fastest were the ones where I attacked yesterday, the climbs, and then just kept it steady at those, steady, it was still crazy suffering, but I kept it steady on the flatter and downhill section of the course. And that's what I think Webb was looking for there to try and get away. But now it looks like he has been countered here by Ramen as well as innovation, as they're going to get together at the front end of the group here and try and keep the innovation boys, Loke, but the vision boy here, Webb, off of their wheel, 5.7 watts per kilogram, trying to hold on. He does beat fairly lowly for his max heart rate, usually right around that 163, I think, for his threshold. Jens Fredros Musman there, coming from Vision Cycling. As you can see, their cool little logo, their Lego, really cool little thing that the Vision Boys have brought in, and saying Webb destroyed that hill, but you can see their little avatar there as a their Vision Zwift Vision kits that been, or little avatars that have been made up by one of their teammates, I believe Felix. Great job around all that from those guys over at Vision. Really hilarious. We all have our own on the Vision team. It's really a great little addition to the fun community style of Zwift riding and racing. We are seeing, it looks like, go on dad, and innovation from Joe Gavin Richardson. What a great little comment there. It looks like coming from Joe Gavin Richardson saying go on dad and innovation, assuming the son or daughter is hanging out there cheering on their dad, who is currently just hanging on at the front end of this pack as they head into the final lap out on course. We were going to cover the B event. I know I said I was going to, but right now, just to be straight with you guys, I am in the pens with Lindsay's avatar. If you're familiar with my wife, Lindsay Guerra, we log in on with her for the event, and I was covering the forward climb. It was 2 minutes in, and they start 2 minutes after. And we'll see if I can log in and maybe grab some of the riders there from the event. Oh, and I maybe have some BRT boys here that are going to help me out to get onto course. I did leave the event. We'll see if these boys, when does the BRT event actually start? Because when that BRT event starts, I may be able to use them to get out of the pens here without logging back into the game. And so I'll take a look here over at zwiftpower.com really quickly to see if that would help out. But they are attacking now. Let's go ahead and make sure we keep an eye on what's happening at the front end of the race here, as for the A boys. We got G Richardson kicking in the 5.5 watts per kilogram. We do have Webb here hammering away. Ramen using, man, this guy has gotten the drafting power up over and over again. We're just going to call him drafting team bus boy here, as he is trying to hang on with that draft and getting a little bit of lead out here, I think, from Richardson. Webb now kicking to 7 watts per kilogram. Ramen trying to hang on 8.3 watts per kilogram here. It does give him a little bit of an advantage to have that drafted power up, but he's gotten, I think, like 4 so far throughout the game. He's probably slamming his keyboard a little bit, going with a little bit of like, where is the RNG? And my favorite today, 1 arrow power up, 1 feather power up could be the difference here for this guy, as he's kicking into that 180 beats per minute up and over the top. Does hit this little bit of a lull in the climb, able to kick it still. I think he may be on a, I'm not sure. I'm seeing 4.6, 3.7, probably on a smart trainer. He's probably going to kick again as that resistance comes back at him. Webb now kicking into 5.1. This is going to be the moment of truth maybe for a few of the racers as they're kicking into this last lap here. 18 miles in. It is going to be 23 miles or 36.4 total today kilometers for the race. Webb with one last little kick as it goes in at 6.4 watts per kilogram. Richardson trying to follow, but Webb's got a 1 second gap here. 13 meters, 14 meters. It continues to go out. As we said, it's a race of meters. He's got a full 20 meters at this point as he kicks one last time. Ramen trying to follow here, but Webb's getting away, but he fades as he comes up over the top. And we're trying to get the view here. There it is. And it is down to 10 meters, 7 meters. Very quickly being closed down. Does not have any more kick up and over the top. Robert closes it down. It looks like it's going to be a 2-up for the win today. Perhaps if Richardson does not close that down right now. Loke almost back on terms. Webb with one last little kick, making sure they do not get away from him, actually, as Ramen came flying right on by. We'll see if he's able to hold on to this group. And we are seeing Steve MZ. Is that from, do I have a Twitch staff hanging out in the broadcast, actually? It's too bad that Zwift doesn't have a better spectator option. A little comment there. They need to show that what power-ups people are well, I think they actually hold off on that in the spectator. So, because here's the thing, I guess I could take the broadcast and make it so that it goes out like with a little bit more delay. But a lot of times when you do like a Zwift on board or a racer focus, a lot of times we have those on Zwift Community Live. People will put like a little red turtle shell image over that because they don't want people sniping what power up they have. So it's kind of a thing in game that, like, if you're streaming your race, you'll cover up that image. So we wouldn't want to give away that, you know, there's a little ace up your sleeve there, kind of. But I do agree it would be nice to have, and I think broadcaster tools are coming down the road. I did have a little bit of insider information on that. I think they're coming. I can't say for sure, but I think there are broadcaster tools coming down the road. We've been requesting them for a while, and I did see Jesper use something during the Jesper Anchor. He does, just so you guys know, he does the e-crits on ZCL as well as on Zwift's Facebook for a stream once in a while, and I did see him get stuck in the pens like my other avatar is right now, and he pushed some buttons I've never seen before able to be pushed or something, where suddenly, bam, he had a rider list and was able to join riders very quickly and never left the event. That was interesting to see, and it definitely would be helpful to have that. It'd be really cool to have that so that I could jump forward right now in that B category race. There is a pen filling up, though, right now with a race. Jay Ferris, it looks like, and Seabanger as well as Humphreys are all in right now. They're about to take off. I'm not sure what event it is that they're in, but they may be able to get me out of the pens here in just a minute so that we can see a few more of the racers and jump out on course with our other feed from the game. But it's good to see you, Steve MZ. I don't think we ever had any Twitch staff in the Twitch channel before, so good to see you hanging out here. And Roger saying, yeah, Jesper with his inside knowledge. So, and Jesper always with the inside knowledge over at Zwift here. So Richardson here now hammering away with looks like Ramen and Loke. Webb, this is your 4 that have been off the front in this A category. This is their last chance to make a break, and we're seeing innovation now thrown. And I think this is going to be for the last half a lap here. This is what we're going to see over and over again. If they want to beat Webb, one of the strongest riders out on Zwift by far. If you head on over to his profile, you're going to see a whole lot of gold on his profile for the last wins. We've got a first, a second, and a first actually for the last 3 races for his best results out on Zwift. So definitely one of the stronger riders, and I think he won the last race that he did out on Zwift. I'm going to go ahead and take a look here really quick. Yep, in the KISS Americas AM, he won on 6-1, and then we are seeing also in the KISS Europe race 2 days ago, he took a first there as well. And he tends to do double header races actually back to back out on Zwift. So we are seeing double races each day here almost for the last week or two. Lots of golds there. So it's going to be all up to innovation to break Webb at this point with these attacks over and over again. They got to play cat and mouse games and force him to chase over and over and over again all the way to the finish line because Webb has a solid sprint. Now he follows wheels here. Rahman now going 178 beats per minute. We saw him into that 9 watts per kilogram, and then Webb pulling the other riders right up to his wheel. Richardson now following there as well. Innovations boys throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this point, or even the kitchen sink. Webb though with his own counter up into that 5, 6, 7, 8 watts per kilogram, but now Rahman with a counter actually. Will he be able to break Webb at this point? Nothing quite yet. 27 miles per hour over the top. As they head into the Essies, it will be the final time that they can try and break things apart. And Steve MZ saying, for League of Legends, we put a delay for regular spectators, and for live events, we had soundproofing for the stage. Gosh, yeah, and we probably at some point will end up doing that and put a little bit of delay. We are seeing a little bit of delay in the response though. Speaking of what's happening here with Rahman and Webb actually, as he had that feather power up actually, and he does have a 4-second gap. Now this is a dangerous gap for Webb at this point, as the other boys are just going to be sitting on his shoulder on his wheel, but it looks like Webb actually with a 4-second gap. So now it's just going to be mano a mano, the South African versus the man coming out of the UK for Vision Cycling here. Innovation versus Vision, 9 watts per kilogram, 8 watts per kilogram, but will this be too much to be throwing down? He's got an arrow power up though, so he only has to put out about 4 watts per kilogram to close it down. That arrow power up is a huge RNG in his favor at this point as he closes things down without having to put out 5, 6 watts per kilogram here. What a huge upset there for Rahman actually there at 3.8 watts per kilogram. Now just going to have to hold on to Webb's wheel. Now it's going to be all about what both of them threw down a power up before this, so it's going to be about at this point what power up do they have as they come through the sprint banner. Now Webb with a little bit of mistake there. When you hit 0 watts per kilogram and you rest up like that, your avatar actually puts the brakes on for a moment. You never want to do 0 watts per kilogram if you're looking for the draft while you slow down and come around the avatar, around the back side of them like that. You don't want to hit 0. So you want to hold on to that because the brakes do go on when you hit 0 here. Now we've got a feather power up coming from Rahman. It's going to be really, really great power up for him to have here as he's hitting that 5% gradient uphill. The feather power up reduces your weight by 1 watt per kilogram, so he's only got to put out 8 or 9 at this point to match the 11-10 of Webb though. But Webb at 10 watts per kilogram now fading to 0 real quickly. Rahman continues to go off the front there. The South African really putting it to Webb at this point. One of the strongest riders out on Zwift. We've got a new wild card in the game now, boys and girls. Rahman, not somebody I'm familiar with. Looks like Innovation's been stacking the lineup at this point. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at what 4 races out on Zwift. Definitely a new racer to the world of Zwift. Took a second in the KISS Europe, and we're seeing a third back on April 28th, a second in KISS Europe back on the 21st. So looking for what would be his first win actually out on Zwift. He did take a SAS Volkirin race, it looks like back on April 27th, his first time ever into the world of Zwift. So, but no wins as a part of the A category officially yet. This might be his first time able to win. Webb here having to throw down his sprint very early there just to hang out of the wheel. So Rahman here getting away, and they've got 11 seconds now at this point, so it's going to be mano a mano. Webb versus Rahman, Innovation versus Vision Cycling to the line. Webb trying to kick one more time as they head into this final Ks to the finish now. Now Rahman here, 180 beats per minute now coming around the, man, this boy is working. 180 beats per minute, 158 here coming from Webb. The max heart rate that we've seen from Rahman is 195 in game, so he's got a little bit to work with here. Webb now we've seen up into 173, so he's definitely already up into the threshold area right now. They both only have about 10 to 15 beats to work with at this point. They're both right at threshold, just trying to hold on, maybe even the VO2 max effort. Who's going to have the kick to the line at this point? Who's going to play their cards correctly and pull this off for their team? It's coming into the last 500 meters now, and Rahman leaning out 5.3 watts per kilogram saying, I don't care, I'm just going to keep the pace high. I know I've got to sprint perhaps all the way to the line. Who's going to kick first? Ramen going 17, 14 watts per kilogram, super early. Webb trying to follow up into the 15, 1200 watts. Can he hold on to the wheel? He grabs onto the wheel immediately here now, though. Ramen continues to go. Are you kidding me? 1800 watts, is that for real? We're going to have to get a strain gauge maybe on that, boys and girls, but what an effort there. He continues to kick over and over again, gets the gap on Webb. It will be Ramen, but Webb now calling it out, and we'll give him the editorial freedom to do so there, as he's saying he's using the bug there. We'll have to see, though. Let's see, though. Let's just get this out of approval. I'm, as a commentator, not going to call it, but Webb just straight up calling it out there and holds on for second place. We'll see what the race organizers have to say about that. And now to the line, Innovation, no love lost, as Loke takes second or third, and it looks like it will be Richardson for fourth across the line. Drama in game, boys and girls, as they cross the line. We'll have to see what is going to play out with the race organizers. I'm going to give it to Ramen at this point as the commentator, but that is preliminary results. I'm just going to say what I see for what the results were across the line. So we do have, it looks like some of the BRT boys and others in the individual time trial that going out on the course right now. They did get our other avatar out on the course, and you do see some of them out here doing their individual TT and the KISS race, it looks like right now. But we are back. Here we go. Right back into. So when you go across the start finish line, you're a part of the event. Just so you know, you leave the event at that point, and well, you don't leave it, but you, as a spectator, your spectator mode changes the mode that it's in, and it goes into open world mode, and then you jump, and then you can start to look around. But when I click on somebody who's in the event still, that I am still in, because I'm actually back at the pens, my avatar is still sitting in the event, I jump back into the event. So now that I'm looking at Cambier and he's a part of the event, I can see that he's being followed up very closely here by Kalen. Seahead and Lecoq here for this battle here for the other top 5 spot out on course. Cambier going way early, being chased down by Parada from Innovation. Up and out of the saddle, you do see Seahead there chasing them down, and now you see that group up and out of the saddle. Here comes the sprints from all the riders. Cambier's got 1 second. Can he hold on at 6.6 watts per kilogram? We start seeing orange numbers. I don't think it's going to happen, boys and girls. And here goes Cambier, unable, I think, to hold on, as there goes Innovation now with M. Shaw, 8.8 watts per kilogram. Jay Clark from KRT, though, might have a little bit of a kick to nip him at the line. Is it going to happen right to the line? Innovation just barely able to hold on. It was followed by the KRT boy, Lecoq, and then I believe it was Seahead for third amongst that sprint. Kalen rounded it out across the line there, but Cambier a little bit too early, perhaps. So I have a feeling there is going to be a little bit of protest, though, after the race today. Always makes things interesting, boys and girls, and I think that the KISS boys are going to have their hands a little bit full after this race today to figure out what was going on at the front end. But it was definitely either a first or second for Webb and a first or second for the newer rider out of South Africa there with Zahir Rahman. Solid race, though, for him out there. Definitely was high on the heart rate. Definitely a killer effort from him out there today. Zuza across the line there for the PTZ team. Haven't mentioned them a whole lot, but definitely one of the long-standing teams in game. And got their kit there, as you can see. PTZ with a little Vision on there. Always thanks for the support of Vision Cycling hanging out on the back there of the jersey. Looking back now, we do see Kiss C coming across the line in the C category. I think still battling it out. Maybe for another lap out on course. I think they're all doing 4. I'll have to double check and see. I think they've got 1 more to go in this C category right now. So for the B boys, though, let's go ahead and see where they are standing. Zwift Power is going to give us a little help here. If you didn't know, you can go over to Zwift Power, check out the results live, who's come across right now, but then you can also see who's still out on course. And the B boys are being led out by Enzaki, Ridderwald, as well as Bacon and Christensen. A lot of Innovation boys actually at the front end of the race there. So looks like Nascimento logged in here, putting down a solid 10 minute miles here doing some running here, actually, out on course, but doing a little moonwalking too. Man, that is an interesting way to be running around out on course. I love it, actually. Hey, Shank, logging in as well. If you didn't know, there is running in Zwift. Get the foot pod to put your power into the game, and you can go ahead and grab, you can go ahead and start using it in beta. There's a lot of different resources online to find that. I'm seeing D Rice, CTFU here. Good to see him hanging out in game. I've been battling back and forth with him on YouTube with a little bit of fun comments back and forth about him using the GoGo Power Rangers Z Power for these crazy rides. Always fun to see him out on course, giving him a ride on. And Steve's over at the Twitch saying, yeah, that's not suspicious at all. Thanks for joining in all your comments. Good to see you over at the Twitch channel. I'm going to go ahead and wait up for the B-Boys to be crossing the line here. And we did see a whole lot of comments that came through. Christopher Durden saying that's a stronger top. Ramen for up saying how many miles left. Sorry, we didn't see all these comments in the moment. We got a little bit carried away with how close the racing was. We do have a few Kiss Boys still bringing their way in here in the A race. TFC with Max C-Mac-D hammering away in that yellow TFC kit. As you can see, the first time we've seen the TFC in the race so far today. They used that yellow CRCA kit. William Haas saying, could that be a trainer malfunction? Yeah, it could be. That's what we were mentioning there. Adam mentioned the bug. Is that where you can game the system with unrealistic? Well, there's a couple of the trainers, I think, Stephen Tweed. And so I think, I'm not sure how they all work. I haven't looked into it very closely, but there are a couple of, there's a couple out there that you can do a little bit of odd pedaling here and there and get some really high kick. Webb was actually, I think, at one point given a lot of criticism for having the bug himself, actually, so he's very familiar with it, I think, as well. And Roger's saying, looks like Rahman has a power meter for outside, so could send in some strain gauge. I would, I want to give Rahman a lot of benefit of the doubt because we saw the heart rate really high there, and we saw a very real-like response to the heart rate, but at the same time, really crazy dynamic powers that are that intense in fluctuation. Like it went from like quickly 8 to 1800, but then it did like fall slowly in any way. So a lot of times you just want to watch out for that. So just some objectivity around it would be great, I think, for all the racers. And that's what Zada and the community organizations are there for and have been developing these great programs to check on those things for. So D. Larson here with C-Mac-D coming to the line. It looks like C-Mac-D might be able to nip him right at the line. And it looks like it's going to happen in the last 100 meters with that arrow power up. What a sprint from C-Mac-D there, coming across the line, able to nip Larson just barely. So solid sprint there in that A category. So definitely looking for the rest of the B-Boys as they make their way to the line here. While we wait for them, we're going to go ahead and chat a little bit about what's up and coming on the Zwift Community Live broadcast. So we do have a schedule over on our Twitch TV/Zwift Community Live. If you head on over there and you click on the events tab at the top, you can actually see all of the broadcasts that are upcoming in the next week or so. Next thing that will be coming up will be Zuskana's fitness workout ride. That'll be tomorrow night. And then next week, obviously, there is the CVR London event. I'll be flying out to London with Lindsay actually for that. Definitely something that you're going to want to follow and check out. We do have an event that you can follow for when we go live over at the Twitch page. We will be live on all of the places, though. The ZCL Facebook will be on the ZCL Twitch. We might be on the Twitter actually as well. We'll also be on Mixer as well as YouTube. A real life UK versus the world in an arena esports event over on with CVR on all the ZCL channels. So definitely want to check that out. Get your reminder by jumping on over into Twitch and hitting the events button up at the top of the Twitch channel for Zwift Community Live. Grab that reminder so you will get a reminder an hour before, as well as I think right when we go live actually for that event next week in London. You haven't got your tickets yet, make sure to head on over and grab those as well. I believe tickets are free, so you can just go ahead and sign up for that event. CVR World Cup Definitely something to be checking out. It's going to be hyped. It looks like Lewis as well as Olegaard battling out in the B race here to the line. Lewis able to get the better of him with that sprint, and Olegaard now just coming across the line out of Denmark in that B category for the KISS race. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results now. We're going to go over the A and the B category results as they had come across the line. It looks like it will be Zahir Raham out of South Africa does grab the win, but over 5 watts per kilogram. So Raham then, either way, is going to have to put in some verification because he put out over 5 watts per kilogram. Being new to the world of Zwift, he will get tagged and just have to throw down some strain gauge power meter files to Zada in order to stay with that. So either way, he would have been relegated because of that. Great job, great performance. We don't want to punish you for putting out an amazing performance. But seeing is a smart trainer, definitely going to need to just get some checks on that. And then Webb put out 4.4 watts per kilogram and got second place so far, but he will get bumped up because of that 5.0 watts per kilogram to first place for the time being until the race organizers can take a look at any Zada approval. Chris Loke then taking second place, followed by Gavin Richardson for third in the A category. We do then have, looks like Geert Rittervold, followed by Keith Chalmers, and then Maurice Hannon for your top 3 in the B category. So that's going to be it, I think, for our coverage today, as we'll be waiting up quite a while here for a few of these Cs as they do separate out. We don't have a feed from the Cs right now, so we won't be able to cover them directly as just yet. We do see M. Holtz here coming across the line. Nice job to Holtz here from the BRT team, the Bolt Racing team that does hang out in that Power Tap Cyclops kit. I'm seeing a whole lot of chatter over at the Twitch channel from quite a few people. Let's see if there's any questions. I don't want to miss any questions just yet. And Christopher Durham saying over at the Zwift Facebook, absolutely gutted that I won't be able to come down to meet the one Nathan Guerra on the June 6th as I have an A-level math exam. Oh, Christopher, sorry to hear that. It would have been amazing. Christopher Durham, you guys, a junior racer out of the UK, and somebody that I've been commentating on from the WBR team. Actually, before they were WBR, they're in their Team Z from all the way back in beta, and been watching him progress in his junior racing and riding to become a really, really strong individual, both inside and outside in the world of Zwift as well as real racing, and been progressing his racing through being a part of that awesome team as well as being a part of the Zwift community. So good to see you, and too bad I'm not going to see you. Speaking of the CBR event, KISS Racing team, Rachel Elliott here, out there putting out a solid effort here, getting ready for her battle at that event. Actually, she's one of the racers that will be there. So definitely a lot of hype going on around that right now. So any more questions, make sure to speak them up now over at the Facebook or over at the Twitter as I can bring them in. Otherwise, we are going to be out of here most likely for the day. And Steve M saying, lunch break over. Keep up the good work, Nathan. Thanks a lot, Steve MZ. Good to see you hanging out and the channel. Really appreciate you very much. So I think that's going to be it, boys and girls, for our coverage. I'm going to take a look at the results one last time before we take off here. It looks like Richard Neal coming across the line just outside the top 10 in that B category. There's a battle between, it looks like Ahmed El Tanaji. He's going to be upgraded to a B category though. So S. Pratt, it looks like with M. Reese 1-2 or 2-1 right around there for the C category, followed by D. Oritz for third in that C category. So I'm going to take a really quick look here for any of the women that might have jumped in today. It does look like P. Parker will be in there for the top spot amongst the women. Nice job to her. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, great job to all the racers out there for their huge effort. We could not have these broadcasts without you. Thanks for showing up and hammering out there, putting all of your effort on the line. We had, I think, over 100 racers sign up actually today, so great job to all you guys and gals out there. As always, guys, if you want to follow up with Zwift Community Live in any of those places, you can head on over to our Facebook, throw it a follow. Head over to Twitch, throw a follow over there, Mixer or YouTube. VODs are always on YouTube or our Twitch channel. And as always, a big old ride on.
pioneer.